Welcome back to another video from care activist Matthew McKenzie. As you can see from the title, I'm going to be talking about holding integrated care systems to account as a carer. Now, as usual, I'm going to try and keep this video short. I'm not very good at keeping them short, but I'll try and split the video up. So if there's any specific interest regarding that video, you can just skip right to that. But let's begin. What I'll be talking about today is a brief explanation of an ICS, basically integrated care systems. Been out for a while now in the UK. The idea is to ensure health services meets the needs of the community. There used to be a form of commissioning. In fact, I still think they are in a sense commissioning for health services. What to do when you are trying to hold them to account, and I don't think it's the best word. I think it's more like engaging with integrated care systems or those who make those decisions. And I just want to sum things up in regards to what I'm presenting on today when it comes to ICSs. So let's begin. What is an integrated care system? And I'm sure many people are looking like these figures you can see when integrated care systems came out some years ago. And obviously it's the NHS, so it's the National Health Service in the UK, usually referred as an ICS. That it's basically a framework within the UK's National Health Service. As mentioned before, it's a group of community or voluntary commissioning services, to be honest, where the key thing is to engage, is use engagements to make sure health services meet the needs of the community. A while back, there were basically commissioners who are commissioning for services, but they can't just commission without hearing from others who use services, also provide services as well, to meet the needs of the community. And when we're talking about the community, that means it's about collaboration. We're talking about carers and caregivers out there, usually hidden. And one of the reasons that is because of them being hidden. I am making this video in case any carer or caregiver comes across this video, they think, oh, okay, I see what Matthew's sort of getting at. It's important to give your views if you're caring for someone using those health services that's being commissioned to provide those health services. I'm going to try and speed the video up a bit because the last one I did was half an hour, and I don't really want to make those too long because I think it's time really that people have to watch videos. I'm not sure why, again, I've chosen the title Holding to Account. There is a way to do it as carers and caregivers, but it's not easy. And this video, it's mainly more about engagement and feeding back. What you can see here from this logo is Health Watch, one of the important key, I don't know if I can call them stakeholders, I'm sure, because they do engage with stakeholders. That's the focus of that, and that be those who are interested when it comes to specific terms in health and care, because it directly affects them. And I'll talk a bit more about Health Watch in a bit. But if you are a carer or caregiver and your loved ones is using those health services that ICS represents or develops, every so often off the Integrated Care Systems website, just type it into Google ICS, and then your area, it could be Southwark, it could be over in Kent, could be Gloucestershire. Type that in and see what meetings are coming up. Try and attend those meetings in order to find out what's going on. How can you get your voice involved in there? What are the main agendas in regards to healthcare being provided in that area? And the key reason for doing that is to stay informed. And even beyond that, if your loved one is using mental health services or health services and you're providing round-the-clock care, how does this impact on your caring role? Do those health services tailor to your needs as a carer or caregiver? But you won't know until you're sort of informed or attending some of those meetings. Engage in Health Watch. You don't always have to go to ICU. I mean, it's important that you do go if you can, but Health Watch feeds into integrated care systems. They are part of them. They sit on another key process, I suppose, or body, which is the Integrated Care Board. I'm not saying that they have a huge amount of power on that, but they can influence. But the only way they're going to be doing that is if they hear from patients, carers, caregivers, general public, on what are the pressing factors when it comes to healthcare. And they're dotted around the country. You've obviously got, again, Health Watch Lambeth, more in my area, Health Watch Lewisham, Health Watch Kent. You know, Google them, but see if you go to their site, see what sort of focus that they have, and something might be actually on the area that you're providing care for. It might be on a particular symptom, and provide feedback, whether it's to Health Watch or straight at your ISIS meetings. It's always good to provide feedback. Don't stay silent if something is affecting your role as a carer within the health system. It's important. The ICS need to know. The integrated care systems, or those who are responsible for them, need to know. Remember, it's a collaboration, though. So do have a clear idea of who you're going to speak to. What I'm going to do now is just show a short video on the importance of actually feeding back to an integrated
If you care for someone
care
but
system.
feel unheard, it's time to make some noise. As a caregiver, you know the ins and outs of local health services, but here's the thing. Your experience is gold. Your insights can shine a light on what's really working and what's not. Holding integrated care systems to account might sound daunting, but it's simpler than you think. Just share your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Your feedback can spotlight gaps and spark the changes we all need. Start small, talk to your local health providers, join caregiver forums, or participate in surveys. Remember, every bit helps, because when caregivers speak up, communities listen, and together we can make health services better for everyone. So don't be silent, be the change. Speak up and help improve our local health services today.
Part of this, and I think this is more on holding to account. When you are attending those meetings, or perhaps emailing someone, it's important to advocate for transparency. Are carers or caregivers actually their experience included when it comes to tailoring health systems and the needs of the community? As you can see from that picture, that's what I thought best placed there in order to represent what a community is. Unfortunately, carers are hidden. They're providing round the clock care, and I can see why, depending on the symptoms of their loved one. So it's important that if health systems are developed, carers and caregivers have their voice taken into account. It can help influence change when it comes to health systems that are particularly under pressure as it is. Also, and I know this might be a little bit boring for, well, carers and caregivers, to be honest, always feeding back and participating in surveys and consultations. But the risk is, if you don't, there's a risk that integrated care systems, or those that decide on the needs of the community when it comes to healthcare, will second guess what carers and caregivers' needs are, and the risk is that they might not take into account the struggles carers and caregivers actually have. So it's important to feed us if it's particularly on the issue that you're caring for. If you're caring for someone with cancer or mental ill health, if it's specific to your role as a caregiver, how is your loved one's health needs affected? Another thing also to take note of is, don't always go single-handed. This is something you can learn. You can build alliances, learn from others. I'm always learning. I don't know much or much at all, to be honest. But when I do try and attend these meetings, which is not always often, there's lots of stuff I'm trying to do. It's great to build alliances because you can't be everywhere. So others can feed back to you, others can report back, others can attend certain meetings. It's always important to build alliances and, again, keep providing that feedback. It's not one way, though. Holding to account means you get feedback and information as well. It's not always continually providing feedback and then wondering what's happened to it. So to sum things up, Integrated care systems cannot guess on carer needs. As caregivers, you should try to hold to account, or at least engage and find out what's going on and whether they're taking into account your carer and caregiver experience. Because at the end of the day, you are the strong link. You are that link in that chain when it comes to healthcare, the person being cared for, and you providing that care. There are opportunities to learn. ICS are massive, and there's many people involved, and there's loads of reports to read, and there's lots of things to chase. I'm not saying do that all, might not be possible, but there is opportunities to learn more about healthcare and health systems in your local area. And it's a good way to form networks. One of the worst things that can happen to carers is being isolated. It perhaps comes with the role depending on the cared for's health at the time. But it always helps that if you form a network of carers, caregivers, public, patients, whether it's going to carer groups and going as a group to certain meetings and talking about that, it's a good way to form networks and collaborate with others, hopefully other carers, because you're sharing that lived experience. I'd like to say thanks for stopping by and taking an interest in this video. If you like it, do give us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.